Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Whitty's Gear Reviews. Today we're going to kind of look at a Temu haul. It's been a while. We used to do Temu hauls all the time, and then with some of the stuff that was going on, Temu kind of their shipping went way up, and it just didn't make it really feasible. And Amazon seemed to, of course, be a better choice. But now some of Temu's prices are going back down, so went on there, looked at some items, and went ahead and picked a couple things up, which I wanted to go over with you right now. And a lot of this stuff, you got to look at it for what it is, guys. This is all based around either EDC, survival, prepping, camping, outdoor use, stuff like that. And that's kind of why I got some of the items here that I want to share with you. The first thing we're going to look at is this right here, which is basically an 8-liter water storage container. These things, guys, they're $5.78. Like I said, it's 8 liters. They call it a fold flat water storage bag. It's pretty flat, but it's not 100% flat. I wouldn't say at the thickest point, which would be here where the nozzle is. That's probably about 2 inches. So it's not completely flat, but it does pack down fairly small. These things are coming in right now, at the time of the video, at $5.78. This is made out of PE, which is just polyethylene. And we'll pull it out of the bag here and look at it. And we've got our Whitty's Ozark Grail customized here. We did a short on that. Check it out if you're curious. D2 steel, super sharp, and Whitty's Gear Reviews. I thought it was pretty cool. Alright, so we're double bagged here. And that's it. I hate these plastic bags. It's such an annoying sound when you're trying to do a video and bust into these things. Okay. So, there's your bag. And it's about normal of what you would see at REI or Academy Bass Pro Shop, of the kind of foldable camping bags that they have. So, I do like that. If you can tell, the bottom will open up so it will sit flat on a table once full. So that's cool. I do like that. So it'll sit up. You got a little cap. Doesn't feel like there's really an O-ring or anything in there, but it's at the top. You got your nice little grab handle so you don't rip your bag. And okay. So you can see the barbs on that. So you could hook up a hose to that. Just a little protective cover. But basically, you just spin it to open. That's fully open. And back the other way, fully closed. And that's friction. So you just kind of press that on there. You hear it click. And now you're in business. So a good way to carry 8 full liters of water and be able to pack it down to where it's not very big for, if you put it in a get home bag, a go bag, your camping gear. Sometimes when we go camping, instead of bringing a bunch of jugs of water, we have a lot of campsites have potable water there. Don't waste the time bringing a bunch of liters of water, or 1 gallon water bottles take up a bunch of space, when you could bring something like this, fill it up with your potable water at your campsite and stick it on your table, and you can just pour that easily by twisting that and going directly into your cup or pot, anything like that. These are good to have. I thought it was a good deal that I was looking at for less than $6, $5.78. And plus, it's reusable. You just pack it back down, snap the nozzle off, fold it back up. You can even fold it this way and throw it in your bag and go. If you fold it like this, just my opinion, if you're going to take this off, I'd recommend putting it in a 1-gallon Ziploc bag so you can kind of keep everything together, toss it in your bag, and, you know, if you break it down and it's wet, if you toss it in the 1-liter gallon bag, a good freezer bag or something like that, you're not getting the insides of your pack wet. Good little thing to have. We'll move on. The next thing we got was, I bought 2 packs, and these are basically for, you know, I like things that glow in the dark, because I can't tell you how many times in the middle of the night you set down a flashlight, you set down a knife, a saw, a spatula, you name it, I've set it down and, you know, got to go get my headlamp or turn my headlamp on and trying to figure out where it's at. These things are quick, simple, and man, they're just so, they're multi-use. There's so many things you can use these for. You can use them for zipper pulls on any of your bags, on your jacket, any of your clothing, but you can also put these as small lanyards. Like, I've got 2 glow-in-the-dark beads on the back of this. Do I need them? No. These scales glow. I'm not going to lose this knife when I go camping. But if you don't have a glow-in-the-dark, any glow-in-the-dark scales or glow-in-the-dark beads, you just simply take one of these, slide it over, and you don't even have to go through your lanyard hole or nothing. So, in the evening, throw that on there. Then if you drop something, you can go back and find it. Let them sit outside, shove it on your flashlight, anything like that. Most lights, were like this. This is black. If you drop this and it's not on, it might be hard to find in the middle of the night. But if you wanted to, you can just put it through your wrist strap, and now you've got a glow-in-the-dark little tab to find something. I like these. I like having them. I bought the beads. The beads work good, but they're not so quick and they're not simple. And these kind of don't look like glow-in-the-dark beads. Y'all can hear my son. He got a keyboard, I believe it was yesterday. He got a keyboard, and man, he is singing back there. He's 2. He's back there singing, having a good old time. So if you hear him in the background, I apologize, but I'm a father, and I'm not going to edit the video or redo the video. It's my life. I live it. This is also a part of my life. So right now, both are meshing together. So I apologize. But these things are really good. I wanted to see how they glow. And now I have no clue where my light is. But I do have a ultraviolet light, which is here. And you can just shine this over to mimic if you had these out in the sun. And you can already tell it's a different color than the others with that little bit of ultraviolet. So you'd probably need a couple hours of sunlight. Now keep in mind, you're going to have to know that you lost your tool. Because if you realize you don't have your knife 6 hours after you lost it, you're not going to find it that day. You're going to have to wait for the next day and hope that one of these is in the sunlight. And then go back down at dusk and see what you see glowing. It's not going to do you a bit of good if you didn't realize that you lost your light or your knife or whatever you had. So keep that in mind. They're not an end-all be-all, but they are great little additions to any kit. Super cheap. Throw them, like I said, throw them on any zipper pulls, any bags, anything like that, if you're looking for something glow-in-the-dark. These things are, man, a pack of them of 10 pieces was $2.92. And they're pretty well made. This is a hard plastic. Actually, it feels, yeah, it's a hard rubberized plastic. Then you have your glow tab on both sides and then your cordage on there. But in my opinion, man, hey, it doesn't hurt having something like this, especially at the price. These are the kind of things that you buy and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm going to stick them on this. I'm going to stick them on that. But I like throwing them on your little clips. But I've got another hack for a knife if you don't want to lose it, if you have it in your pocket and you're carrying it around and you're afraid you're going to drop it. We'll get to that in a minute. But super cheap, guys. Not a bad gig. Something to have. The next thing we're going to take a look at is... I bought a whistle. I don't know. I read it, and I'm like, it's kind of cool looking. We'll bust into it, see what it looks like here. It is called a dual tube sonic whistle. Stainless steel, high frequency. I have dogs, so when I blow this, all kinds of things might happen here. Now, they call this a two-piece. I want to clarify that. Read everything you see on Temu. Because if it says two-piece, that doesn't mean you get two whistles. Sometimes when they consider two-piece, let me get it out of the bag here. I'll show you kind of like sometimes what they'll call two pieces. Sometimes they'll say that's two pieces because you have a keychain and you have a whistle. They consider this two pieces because you have a carabiner and a whistle that has a chain on it, a keychain on it. I thought you got two whistles. You do not. Still really doesn't matter. They're not super expensive. Stainless steel, you've got that outer coating and you have the whistle, this outer shell. Then you have the whistle on the inside. It's kind of hard to see because it's black. But just a cool little dark whistle. It kind of doesn't look like a whistle. Some of my other emergency whistles just really look like whistles and hanging off a bag and stuff. It's just like, I've had people like, hey, why do you have a whistle? Well, I'm about to find out. But it just doesn't really scream whistle. So it's kind of, if you're doing a gray man scenario, urban, you could have a whistle and I don't think anybody would really know exactly what it was. If you need something like that. Now this thing was $2.78, but it's useless if it doesn't work. So let's give it a try and see what happens. It's pretty loud. I would feel confident that if I had this and needed it, I would say it would perform well. Compared to some of the whistles I've got. Them cheap survival kits have a whistle on the end of that spork that nobody's going to... If that's all you got for a whistle, nobody's going to hear you and you're going to be in big trouble. This, pretty confident they're going to hear that. It's loud enough, it is high-pitched enough that if you were just trying to notify people of an issue, trying to get somebody to look your direction, this would definitely do the job. Not bad, super cheap. Seems like it's well made. I mean, it's not super cheap where it feels flimsy. It actually, in my humble opinion, it's kind of over-engineered for what it is. For a whistle. But, hey, doesn't hurt. I've got a lot of different whistles. This was just kind of different than some of the ones I had. I bought it. And for the, what did we say this was? For the $2.78, I like it for that. And I would recommend it to somebody if they said, hey, I want a whistle for under $5. And I don't want it to look like a whistle. That would be a good way to go. All right, moving on. Next thing we have is this 4-piece braid. They're calling this a 4-piece braided keychain lanyards. And for 4 pieces, guys, these things equate to $1 a piece. I use these on a lot of different things. There's a lot of different uses for something like this. For one, it's a good wrist strap. Hook it onto your flashlight. And now if you need to use 2 hands, drop your light. And you can go back 2-handed and it's still attached to you. You can do that with any tools, anything. You could loop these. Let's just say this is a strap on your backpack. You could loop it around any strap on a backpack and you can have it dangling off. You can keep your keys on it. And put your emergency whistle on it. Anything that you needed to carry, but this is another trick I use these for. if you're doing a lot of, let's shut the knife first, Jay. If you're doing a lot of work outside, say building something, building a structure, chopping down firewood, clearing out a ditch, anything like that, and you're constantly putting your knife in and out of your pocket, there may be a time where you don't seat it in there well. And if you're using it a lot, you know, if you're out farmland, farm property, deer lease, it's not a bad habit to get into doing something like this. Right? Now you can carabiner it to your belt loop, and then just throw the knife in your pocket. And then you could just pull it out with the carabiner, undo it, and go. If you want to hook it to your backpack, molly webbing, anything like that, it's a quick way to have your knife hooked where you're not going to lose it. Or any tools for that matter. These things are just good to have. You can make them. You could buy all this stuff and make these yourself. But I promise you, unless you know something I don't know, you're not going to make these for $1 and have all that extra cordage. You know, a little draw button there to tighten it up, and a S-beaner. I don't think you're going to get all that for $1. And I mean, these things were $3.94 for 4. And they have multiple colors. They have camo. They have this orange, which I'm using these for some camping stuff, so I want to be able to see them. And they have black. All black, camo cordage, orange. So there's multiple different things. And guys, keep in mind, everything that I'm showing today is going to be linked in the descriptions. Some people watch my videos and they're like, hey, where'd you get that from? The link will be in the description. You can go right there. It'll bring you right to the page, show you exactly who I bought it from, what it costs. But keep in mind, it's going to be what it costs at the time you look it up, which on Temu, everybody knows, could alter from what it was at the time that I bought it. A lot of people have told me, man, you said $5. I went and found it for $2.68. Fantastic. But sometimes I'll say, hey, I got it for $5. You go and it says no longer available. So that also happens. So a lot of these things are hit and miss, guys, but there's like multiple companies that sell this same thing. So as long as you know what it's called and you know what to look for, you'll find them. And you'll find somebody that has them in stock, and the prices will vary. But if you find one, don't buy the first one you see. Put it in your cart, then go back and pull it up, and then scroll down, and it'll show you all the things that are like it. And you might be able to find it for a couple bucks cheaper if you're trying to stay under a certain budget. These things are good to have, super cheap. This is actually paracord, just so everybody knows. You can kind of see the strands there. They were burnt on the end. This is not cheap cordage. It is actually paracord type material. I'm not going to say it's 550 cord, but it is a paracord type material. Moving on to the next one. What do we got? And this was just a hodgepodge of stuff, but most of it's related to camping, prepping, anything like that. Go bags, get home bags, inch bags, anything. Some of it could even be used for work. Let's put it like that, especially if you work like in the oil field and stuff like that. The next thing we're going to look at is, I throw these in a lot of kits, but I haven't seen this exact one. I was intrigued, and it's a bag inside of a bag. Let's get rid of the bag that we don't need and get to the bag that we want. Oh, it's a bag inside of a bag inside of a bag. That's even better. I have one of these, and for people that watch my videos, you know that if I have a bag that I'm carrying, I have a bag to carry that bag in. It sounds redundant, but it's actually not. If I'm carrying a sling bag and I go somewhere and I don't want to carry the sling bag for whatever reason, I have something like this inside of it, which I can open up, and now I can put my sling bag inside of a backpack. Small, little, lightweight, super light, super packable backpack. You got an extra storage zipper here. That's a pretty deep pocket. It goes down to about there, guys. So about halfway. So you have this outer pocket, you have the main pocket, there's nothing on the inside, nothing on this side, but you do have a water bottle holder on this side. And that's a fairly decent sized water bottle holder. And this is made out of, you can see if you look real close, it's made out of ripstop material. So this is going to be super tough. You're not going to rip this material just carrying it on your back. You know, I mean, if you're going to use this humping through the woods and it's your everyday backpack, these straps are probably going to kill you and it's not going to last forever. It's just a quick option. Say, for instance, you're going to the beach with your wife and your kids, and like here at Galveston, we have the seawall. There's a lot of souvenir shops, and I'm not carrying a backpack. I'm going to carry my small little sling bag or something like that, which isn't going to hold a lot of souvenirs. It's not going to hold leftover food from a restaurant. And I don't want to carry all that stuff because we're doing stuff along the way. We're stopping in other shops. We've got a 2-year-old son. Got to tend to him. Need my hands free. I'm going to go into my bag and I'm going to pop this thing out. Throw it on my back. Now I have my hands free and an extra way to carry stuff. I would highly recommend putting something like this in your car, in your truck, in your camper, on your four-wheeler. Any place that you can use a bag if you needed it, because they're super cheap. This folding lightweight backpack is $3.82. Made out of ripstop material, super lightweight, super packable. You don't have to fold it back. When you're done with it, like we are here, just shove it back in its bag and throw it back in your backpack or car or wherever you got it from. Throw it back in there. Pack it down. It's got its own little stuff sack. Stuff it back in there and you're good to go. Because whatever this material is, I mean, it folds down and packs into nothing. There it is. And then you could even smash it down from there. Get it a little bit flatter. Super small, super compact. It's just called folding lightweight backpack. When I had it out, I should have done the measurements there. But it's almost 9.5 inches wide by 16.25 tall. And you could pack it with a bunch of stuff. So I don't know how wide it gets, but you could put quite a bit in there. I've got another one almost just like this one, except it doesn't have the outer pocket. That's why I wanted this one, because it does have that outer sleeve pocket. The other one just has a large compartment with a water bottle holder. But can't really go wrong, $3.82. These are well made. I was actually surprised. I've used the other one and had another kit. I wanted to toss this one in. Next thing we're going to take a look at is, I have several of these. These are also things that you'll find in most of my bags. This was just a different one. I'll show you another one that I have. But if you watch my channel, I like bags and I like foraging bags. Because there's a lot of uses you can use a foraging bag for. But this is just a stowaway foraging bag. This one is made out of canvas, which I like canvas for a couple different reasons. For one, if I wanted to, I could wax canvases, 50% beeswax, 50% paraffin, melt that, put it on with a paintbrush, get you a heat gun, let it soak into the fibers, repeat, and it's pretty water resistant. So you got your little drawstring, which looks like it's made out of a cotton material. But I would probably replace that. These aren't leather, so if you wanted to add some leather tabs, you could. This is not leather, it's pleather. But that's okay. This stuff's pretty durable. It's gonna last. Is it gonna last like leather? No. Let's be honest, it's not. But for a cheap foraging bag that you're not gonna use all day long, you're gonna use it when you need it. You're gonna want to have something cheap, durable, affordable. If you're gonna just throw this in a bag and only use it in a certain situation, $3.44 for a canvas folding forage bag that put your berries, mushrooms, anything like that in your bag. One thing that I like is it'll go on a belt. So you just put it on your belt. Why I like that is if you're ever setting up camp, if you're hiking, setting up camp, where are your tent stakes at? Sometimes you put them in your pocket. Sometimes you throw them on the ground. And while you're setting up guy lines and all that stuff, you got to walk around your tent a couple times and find all your tent stakes or pegs, whatever you want to call them, depending where you're from. If this is on your belt, just toss them in there. Now, no matter where you go, you got your tent pegs with you. But super lightweight, super cheap, easy to fold up. But either way, guys, these foraging bags are really good to have. Keep with you. Take them camping. Throw them in one of your go bags, get home bags. Good to have. Got two things left. Let's take a look and see what we got next. Let's look at this. What they're calling the hunting bag extension. I got this for a particular reason. What I like about these bags here is basically this is designed, if you can see, to go on the shoulder strap of a pre-existing bag, like a backpack or anything like that. So you clip it on your 1-inch webbing on your backpack. You loop this through either one of the cross straps or elastic straps on there that keeps it in place. And it just gives you, if some of y'all are like me, when I'm hiking or camping or anything like that, I do not like to have a bunch of stuff in my pockets. I just prefer not to have everything shoved in my pocket. So on something like this, if you were to take a bigger size, you know, your pocket knife, it's got a little elastic loop in there. You can throw your pocket knife in there. You know, you can stick a bigger flashlight in there. And then zip that up. And, you know, you can fit a couple, you can fit a small first aid kit in there. Lighter, fire starter, anything like that. You can put in there and you have it right there on your chest. What's good about this compartment is if you didn't have a flashlight, if you had some other tools in there, like a multi-tool, which would fit in there quite well. So say you didn't have the flashlight, right? And you had a full-size multi-tool. Like that. You already have your knife in there. You could shove your multi-tool in there. And now you have your multi-tool. If I can get it zipped back up with that knife in there. You know, we're going to have to reposition the knife. Oh, you know what we'll do is, this has a belt clip on it, so we don't need the big, heavy, we don't need that. So now you have your multi-tool in there, but if you didn't have the big flashlight, you can just take your headlamp, and you can shove your headlamp in there. And then buckle it, and you don't have to worry about your headlamp coming out. If you have like a little Garmin inReach, you can shove that in the pocket. It's a little difficult. Like, say you had, these are just some handheld Cobra walkie-talkies, but you could fit a walkie-talkie in here. You have to kind of tilt the antenna sideways, but you can carry it in there. So just a way to have a couple tools, quick on your chest, super cheap. I think these things came in at $5.44. But you can see, you know, having extra pockets on your straps on your backpack just gives you some flexibility to carry some stuff To keep it off your belt, to keep them out of your pockets. Just keep some stuff up on your chest, easy access, easy to get to on any kind of bag, whether you're hiking, camping, using it in a get-home bag, any situation like that. It helps to have extra external storage, especially without having to take your backpack off, right? So I saw them and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. Not super expensive. It's made out of real durable fabric. Not really Kedora, but Kedora-like. Not as thick, but still thick enough. Zippers are pretty good. No hang-ups. There's no extra fabric. You can see the stitching's really good on the zippers. No extra fabric for anything to get caught on. So good little pouch. It's going to go on one of my bags. And the last thing is, I live in Texas. There's pretty much 2 seasons in Texas. Is summer and then fall. In my part of Texas, we don't get a lot of freezing weather. Every once in a while, like last year, we got some days, I think about a week, in the 20s, and it snowed, which the first time we've had an accumulation of snow on the ground, 20 years. Where I'm at. Now, Dallas, Austin area, they get snow. We really don't. So we're hot and superhuman more times out of the year. And I saw these little fans. And I've seen a lot of people review this fan. I wouldn't even go by the name. Just look for this style fan, because somewhere in China, they produce this fan and sell it to a lot of companies. And a lot of people usually put their logo in the center there. But it's the same exact fan. Probably made in the same exact factory. It just depends who buys them, shows their name on them. This one is unlogoed. It's got a name here, but it's not really logoed anywhere on the fan. But this is a pure USB fan. The thing about these fans is they don't draw a tremendous amount of power. So what we're going to do for an example here is, say we had one of these, which is just a small little 10,000... No, it's a 20,000 amp hour solar charger. And you can plug your little fan in here. Kick this thing on. And now it's running. And it tilts. But it's a 3-speed, so that's low, medium, high. And it's not super loud, but it's super light. And I can feel that wind blowing pretty good. So if you're in a situation where you're camping, tent camping, and it's super hot, man, if you could get a little air movement, this will make a totally big difference in your, how comfortable you are. From what I have read online, I will do a test, but people say with a 10,000 amp hour little anchor or whatever battery pack, you could run this thing for 8 hours on medium, 10 hours on low. I don't know, I haven't tried it. I'm gonna try running it on all 3 and see how long it'll run with this, because this is what I usually take camping or backpacking. So I would have this, set it out in the sun all day. It recharges itself, and in the evening, we can have a little fan. Not bad to have in all kinds of different situations, whether you're four-wheeling or, overlanding or anything like that, and you need a small little fan. This is a good thing to have. And you can hear, it ramps up pretty good, blows decent. This isn't much different than another fan that I had got a while back, which is this one. The only difference between the two, or the main difference between the two, is this one has a battery in it. So basically, and 4 speeds. But you're pretty much charging the battery, and then the battery is supplying the fan. If your output is more than your input, you're gonna wear your battery out. So you would have to make sure you have more coming in than you have power going out, and then it will cycle through this and actually let you use it while it's charging. This, on the other hand, is just pure USB. Small motor, easily ran off of this, and let's be honest, if you're out camping and it's hot and you're in a tent, small tent, you could have this on and it's enough to stay comfortable at night. And if you could get 8 hours out of it, man, you're in good shape. But I don't see anything terribly wrong with this thing. I mean, it's not, super, I guess, industrial or heavy duty, but it's small, it packs down, it's super light. It hardly weighs anything because you're not carrying the extra weight of the battery on the bottom. But you can see these things are probably made in the same warehouse as well. But great little fans, man. I highly recommend these. This is my second one. The other one I have is green. And if you're 2-person camping, you want 2. If you're 1-person camping, of course, you typically want one of these small fans per camper, because it's not going to blow enough to, and it doesn't oscillate or anything like that to blow on 2 people. So you would want it blowing directly on you. And it just makes, your trips a little more comfortable. And like I said, these fans are $5.31. If you do a lot of camping and hiking like we do, these things make a big difference. Compared to what we used to carry, which I would have to hook to the strap of my backpack, be one of these guys. These are also great fans, but super bulky, super heavy, and just, you can tell the difference, right? This does have a light on it, but I'm going to have a headlamp or some type of light on me anyways. A small little dome, tent light. This thing doesn't have any unnecessary gadgets on it to waste power. It's just a fan. Like I said, super lightweight. You can actually mount it like this and put a strap at the top of your tent, angle it back at you, hang it up on the ridge of your tent, and you're good to go. Most tents, like my small little A-frame trekking pole tent, actually on each end has air vents. If you could hook this to one air vent, you could help suck air in and push hotter air out. And it just makes that circulation, and it'll keep you a little cooler. Other than that, that's all we got. Grand total on all the things we bought came out to $34.93. Not really bad. This particular fan like this from REI is $39. So if you went to REI or any sporting goods store to prepare for a camping trip or to throw in a backpack or 4-wheeler or whatever, it's probably going to cost you a lot more money. You could get smaller fans at Walmart, but they're not this small, or they don't put out as much power. And most of those are 110, which this is USB, so you can run it off a car, 4-wheeler, battery pack, solar panel. It's almost endless of what you can run this off of. And, if you do have power, then you just bring a little brick with you, plug it in, and then you could run it off of 110. Good option to have. Super cool little fans. But that's all we have, guys. So that's what we bought. Do me a favor. Let me know out of the things I showed you. If you're interested in any of them, want any more information, I'll be glad to provide that. Leave a link in the description to everything we purchased, so you can go in there, and if there's anything you like, boom, click on the link. It'll take you straight to it. I'm not an affiliate on Temu. I do not make any money. I'm just showing you gear that I've bought, telling you about it, and if you're interested, we'll leave a link so you can go check it out. Anyways, guys, that's all we got for today. There's still 3 ways to support the channel. We got memberships, buy me a coffee, and Whitty's gear. Jump in there, check them out. If you feel like doing any of that, it just helps support the channel. Anyways, guys, love y'all. See you on the next one.